All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start this lesson by giving all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakodash, that were honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who taught us all this truth, and who also rule and teach well, and Shalom to all the Achim and his truth and sincerity, starting with the 144,000 and the 1/3 of the nation of Israel, which we are fighting to be a part of. This is your brother Chabar Yakal coming back, Lord willing, with another quick and edifying lesson. And this lesson is just going to be going into the commandments will be kept in the kingdom. All right, the commandments, not just the 10 commandments, the 613 commandments, plus any other precepts outside of that, because the precept is also a commandment, and the reason, which this was inspired by, I was watching the live that the Elder Apostle Gabar and Elder Bishop Sakaran did, and Elder Apostle Gabar, he made that statement that the commandments is going to be kept in the kingdom. All right, and the reason why this is even a talking point is because a lot of wacky-tacky Christians, Christianity as a whole, they try to say that the law is done away with, but that's not so. All right. Matter of fact, I'll start with this because that's really the premise of this land. I said of this land. That's really the premise of this lesson. Let me get that. I want to say it's Matthew 10, but I'm gonna look it up. Oh, Matthew 5, not Matthew 10. Matthew 5 and 17. Matthew 5 and 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. And the NLT, it says, don't misunderstand why I have come. I did not come to abolish the law of Moses or the writings of the prophets. No, I came to accomplish their purpose. So that's a cut to all you wacky-tacky Christians, They try to say it's okay to eat pork. We're not under the law. It's okay to eat pork. He made all things clean. That, first of all, that vision that Peter had with all the unclean animals they were on I believe it was like a sheet or something like that. It was like I want to say it was like a big sheet. I forget exactly how the parable goes, but Christians always try to use that, but that's not talking about actual animals. It's talking about really men. It's talking about how certain Israelite men, have become like the other nations. So they've become in a way unclean like the other nations, but Yahweh Shai, through Yahweh Shai, all members of the elect is going to be made clean. The elect of the nation of Israel, which are your so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and Israelite foreigners who are scattered among the heathen and even look like the heathen. We got Israelites that look like the heathen. Okay, but Yahweh Shai, he didn't come to destroy the law. Psalms 119 says the law of the Lord is perfect. Matter of fact, I don't think that's Psalms 119. Matter of fact, let me get that. It's 19, not 119. Psalms 19 and 7. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. Okay? So why would the Lord get rid of that? If it's perfect, if it makes wise the simple, why would the Lord get rid of the law? Because guess what? As ugly and as messed up as the planet Earth is right now, because the wicked is ruling Esau, Edom. Job chapter 9 and 24 tells you that. All right, Malachi 4 and 1. The wicked is ruling Esau, Edom, which is the so-called white race. But like I mentioned, our people are scattered among the heathen. So even among so-called white people, you got Israelites scattered amongst them. who go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But what was I about to say? Oh, when you look at how messed up the planet Earth is, guess what? That's because the laws, statutes, and commandments are not being kept. So the laws are not done away with. And they will be in the kingdom of heaven, which the kingdom of heaven will be established on earth. All right, I'm going to get Isaiah, the 2nd chapter. Okay, Isaiah chapter 2 and verse, I'll start at 2. It says, "And it shall come to pass," this is a future prophecy, "in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it." So this is getting ready to happen. On a spiritual level, it's happening, but it's going to happen on a physical level when Yahweh Shai comes back and saves us. And through him saving us, he's going to also, give us a whole new body. Okay, he's going to give us an incorruptible body, a superhuman body. All right. And also, his throne is going to be established, the throne of David. Yahweh Shai is going to sit on the throne of David, and David himself is going to be, right next to him. All right. Which they were father and son in their past life. If you know, you know. So it says, "And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord," which I didn't mention it. Mountain represents a government. All right. Even in modern times, a mountain represents a government. Because, when they have like these G7, summits, these those summits that they have in Davos. Okay, where all these different nations, the UN, all right, or NATO, they call it a summit because that's the top of a mountain, and all these different nations, all these different kingdoms, rather, they represent a mountain. That's what a government is. Let me get the word for mountain. Let me see what it says. It might even say that government. I believe it's Har. No, that's Har. It says country. So a mountain really represents a government. It's not an actual mountain. It says, "Come ye and let us come up. Let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem." So the law is still going to be going out of Zion, which is going to be, Jerusalem. All right. After that land is cleansed from all those heathens that are in it right now, because those aren't the actual Israelites. Now I will say this: there is Israelites scattered amongst that land, but the majority of those people are 1948ers. All right, Ishmaelites, which the 1948ers, they're Edomites. They're the Amalekites. They're a part of the nation of Edom. Amalek was Esau's grandson. That's who you got in that land. And they're the least of the heathen. They're the worst of the heathen. The scriptures calls them that. It says the least of the flock shall draw them out. That's how that's how Babylon the Great is ultimately going to be destroyed, because Israel is going to drag America into a fight that it can't finish, so to speak. Israel is going to cause America to write a check that it can't cash, and it's going to end in thermonuclear destruction of both, Israel and America. But guess what? Israel is going to be built back up, because that's our land. That's the land of Yasharallah, Israel. But the point is, the law is going to be in the kingdom of heaven, and this proves it. This is a future prophecy. So, anytime a wacky-tagged Christian tries to say the law is done away with, And we don't push the law like you can be saved by keeping the law. We don't say that. All right. You can't be saved by keeping the law, but we're saved through faith. What does it say? By grace are you saved through faith, and then not of yourselves. It is a gift of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. So we're not saved by the works of the law, but we keep it to the best of our ability. All right. The scripture says we're rehearsing the righteous acts. So you can't just throw it all away. All right. You can't do that. I'm gonna get Micah 4. Micah 4. It basically says the same thing. Micah 4:1. But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, excuse me, shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills. The hills are all the little governments, all the little, nations, kingdoms. And people shall flow onto it. And this is also, not only is it a cut to wacky-tacky Christians, it's a cut to the 1948ers. And anyone who tries to say that they are the people, this is a cut. Because all nations aren't flowing onto that land. All right? The opposite is happening. People are trying to get away, all type of bombardments be happening over there, all type of explosions, all type of strikes. Okay? It's a war zone over there right now. People aren't flowing onto that land. It says, and many nations shall come and say, come and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among many people and rebuke strong nations afar off. He's gonna Yahweh Shai is gonna rule with the rod of iron. That's what it says in Psalms, the 2nd chapter. Okay. What else? I believe it. Yeah, this Psalms 2. It says, "Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thy inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with the rod of iron." And then it also says that in Revelation 2:26. He's going to rebuke all you nations, because look at the way that you heathen have run the world. This is Yahweh Shai's planet. Right now he's just watching you heathens. Yahweh Shai is sitting down on his throne on the right-hand side of the throne of the Most High himself. And Yahweh Shai is just watching you heathens just do a terrible job ruling his planet. This is his planet. It belongs to him. Like that song, I got the whole world in my, how's that go? I got the whole world in his hand. That's Yahweh Shai. This is his planet. This whole planet belongs to him. Read Psalms chapter 8. Psalms chapter 8 tells you all things were given unto him. And he earned it. Look at what he had to go through, the humiliation. Getting beaten, getting spit, having a crown of thorns put on his head. He earned it. This is his planet. It was already his, but then he earned it though. All right. So he's going to rebuke strong nations afar off, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. This is how you know that the Israelites are not in that land right now, because there's nothing but war in that land. That whole region, that whole Levant region is a war zone. All right. But when we come into the land, nation is not going to learn war anymore. All the weapons, all their little tanks, their fighter jets, their F whatever they got. I don't know the numbers. The fighter jets. The B-52 bombers, all their stuff, they're going to melt it down and use that metal to make farming tools, because they're going to get to work. They're going to be our slaves. They're going to be in the fields, gathering our crops for us, working for us. I mentioned Revelation 2:26. He said he's going to give us the heathen he's going to give us power over the nations. So, hey, we're going to have slaves, man. Just like they had us as slaves, they still have us as slaves because we got to work. It says in Baruch 4, we are yet this day in our captivity. Guess what? We're going to have them enslaved. All right, Revelation 13, 9, and 10. Okay, you reap what you sow. Esau, Edom, and you other nations. So that was it. I'll try to go through this. Psalm 66. And this is to further prove, why is this the one that I wanted? Nah, it's 67. It's one of my favorites. This is what's gonna happen when the law is in place. When righteous judgment goes out on the planet, this is what's gonna happen. All right, I'll start at the top. Psalm 67 and 1. All right, to the chief musician on Neganoth, a song or song. Yahweh Bashmiel shall be merciful unto us and bless us and cause his face to shine upon us. Salah. And that's what he did. He gave us the truth. He shined his face upon us. All right. Isaiah 60 and 1. Isaiah 60 and 2. That thy way may be known upon earth, thy saving health among all nations. What is the way of the Most High? His laws, his statutes, his commandments. Okay? I'm not trying to sound like IUIC, Salakia, well, I should have just said the purple guys. Salakia, I ain't trying to mention them, but I'm not trying to sound like them. The laws, the statutes, the commandments, But in the kingdom, we're going to be perfect. We're going to be able to keep the laws perfectly. It says, Oh, let the nations be glad and sing for joy, for thou shalt judge the people righteously and govern the nations upon earth. Selah. And how does he judge? He judges by the law. He judges according to the law. Just like in this society, Esau's law, if you break one of his laws, they judge you based on what law you broke. It's the same thing with the Most High. Where do you think Esau got that from? It says, let the people praise thee, O Yahweh, let all the people praise thee. Then shall the earth yield her increase, and the Most High, even our own God, shall bless us. So when the laws, statutes, and commandments are in place, the planet Earth is going to be like it was in the Garden of Eden. It's going to be a paradise, The fruit is going to be humongous. You're not even going to have to till the land, but we're going to make the heathens till the land because somebody got to work. But the point I'm making is the earth is going to be so fruitful, you're not even going to have to till. Stuff is just going to be springing out. But guess who's going to pick it, though? We're not going to lift it up. We're going to make our slaves do it. The Most High shall bless us, and all the ends of the earth shall fear him. All right. So there you go. I'm going to end off with this. Hebrews 8. Just to further prove, this is the new covenant. All right. The new covenant is the law, statutes, and commandments being put within us. And I'm going to read that and end off with that. Because when we get saved, we're going to get superhuman bodies that are perfect, bodies that can't even sin. And the scripture says the wages of sin is death. So if you can't sin, you can't die. The only reason we die is because we sin. But the new bodies that the Lord got for us, when he saves us, he's going to change our bodies, our perfect bodies. All right. Hebrews 8 and 8, for finding fault with them, he saith, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. It didn't mention the other nations. All right, the new covenant is only for the Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel, which are your so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and also Israelite foreigners. It says, and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. So the laws is still going to be in the kingdom. If the laws were done away with, why would he put the laws within us in the kingdom? We're going to be able to keep the laws naturally in the kingdom. We're never going to sin. All we're going to know to do, well, I'm not going to say all we're going to know, because we went through this whole experience to know both sides, but we're not going to be able to sin. That's the point. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. We're not going to have to teach anymore in the kingdom. That's when the job is done and we could enjoy the fruits of our labor. But Lord, in this lesson was edifying. Once again, giving our praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Chavodah Shalom.